In this video, I'm going to give you the high achievers guide to setting and actually accomplishing New Year's goals instead of just sitting and having goals that fail by February. And now, why is this important for somebody? If you're watching this, you're a driven individual. You really are already a high achiever. And so sometimes we can set really, really high goals that actually end up failing by February. And we've left a lot of potential on the table. So what do? How do we get there? How can we stay motivated throughout the year? I'm going to give you 4 tips that I swear by that absolutely help. Number 1, create a 1% daily improvement system. The reason why I say 1% is because if you can measure it, you can improve it. If you can't measure it, then it's just kind of this arbitrary thing where you're like kind of trying to hit the mark, but not really hitting the mark. I see it sometimes when I'm trying to cut weight or whatever. I'll go through like 2 or 3 weeks where I'm like, ooh, I think I'm like, cutting out some calories or whatever, but I'm not really measuring anything. And so when I look at the scale and the scale stays the same or slightly goes up, I'm like, oh, because I'm actually not measuring it. When I start measuring it, I'm like, ooh, I'm probably eating a whole lot more. So what you want to do is find measurable things that you can improve in 1% daily. And I say 1%, it's just whatever percentage that works for you. Right now, I'm working on my running. If you all know me, I love to run. I used to hate to run, but now I love to run. And so I'm working on my 1,000 kilometer repeats, 1K repeats. And so what I do is when I run those 1K repeats, I write down my time to complete, and then I do those once a week, and I just try to beat my time. And that's a way for me to be like, okay, I'm slowly progressing and I'm getting better. I can look and I can see if my times aren't getting better, I'm not getting that much better. So that's how mentally I'm saying, okay, I'm getting 1% better each day because each day is leading up to the next week where I'm hitting the same workout again, right? Number 2, build habit stacking routines. This is something that I swear by. This is the hill I'll die on. If you already have a habit of doing something, stack something else that is positive, that's beneficial onto that. Like, for example, if you have a habit of brushing your teeth in the morning, which I hope that you do, and you're like, oh, I'm not drinking enough water. Drink water after that or before that or whatever. You're already going to brush your teeth. Build something else into that is stacking on top of that. I've seen my life expand, and I've seen responsibilities expand. I've seen just how much I have packed into my day expand, and also the capacity expand in a crazy way. I keep saying expand because it's true, is because of habit stacked. I have so many different habits that I've just added different things to on a consistent basis. I really wanted to become a little bit more, dive deeper into my faith. And I was like, well, I don't have time to do that. Well, in the morning, right when I go to my office, I make sure I have about 10 minutes set aside to do some devotion time. And that's something where I'm like, if I'm going to my office every morning, it's a habit that I'm doing it. Well, let me get in my office a little bit earlier and stack on top of it doing devotion time. So the habits that you have, stack on other small habits that you want to incorporate that will stick and that will stay there on a daily basis. Number 3, develop weekly review protocols, right? So this is something that I think that is really important. So for me, there's areas that I really, really want to improve in, right? So one thing is I want to improve my marriage. I want to improve my relationship. So for me, it's okay, I want to make sure that I'm doing something nice and saying something nice to Carly each day. Right. And so this is kind of a daily thing, not just a weekly thing. And so I make sure that I get my mind right when I go into each day and saying, okay, I need to make sure I'm doing the right things and saying the right things that help bring more love into this house. And it's an intentional thing. When you develop weekly protocols and you name out what those things are that you are trying to do and that you're trying to accomplish, what you realize is accomplishing something, that's kind of like the prize. It's the process that matters. And so these protocols are making sure that you're looking at the process and saying, I'm doing things in the process that are help getting me to the prize, but I'm really focusing on the process and not the prize. The reason why a lot of goals fail by February is because we're just focused on the prize. If we don't get the prize, we become unmotivated. But if we focus on the process, we focus on developing those protocols, those things that we are going to do consistently, that is going to help get us to where we want to get to. And number 4, master micro progress tracking. So this is cool too, because progress isn't this huge thing, right? Like I'm looking out at my lawn right now. Well, granted, it's not really growing because it's winter, neither here nor there, but when it's growing, when it's spring, if I look at it, I can't tell that it's growing. But if I'm looking at it every day and then I look at it and I look back and I'm like, oh, from a Monday to a Friday, wow, I need to go cut the grass because it's grown. Now, that is typically how our goals are. That's typically how our life is. If we just accept that micro progress is going to happen, and if we master the art of micro progress, I go back to my 1K repeat thing. It's not that, oh, all of a sudden each week I'm just, getting 10 times faster. No, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to shave a second or 2 off my time each week. And then I'm looking at the other runs that I have and I'm saying, ooh, my times are getting faster. I'm able to, if I go run an hour, I'm able to do X amount of miles instead of before I was only able to do X amount of less miles, right? So I'm mastering the micro progress and I'm tracking the micro progress because that micro progress, when you look at it when you look at it from a timetable, from a macro timetable, you'll see how much you've improved, right? And time goes fast. So make sure that you're doing these things. Again, these are how to set and achieve goals that are consistent, right? We have this conversation at the end of every single year here. Hey, here's how to set and achieve goals. And then it's like by February, people are off the train. You don't need to be off the train. Figure out the things that you want to do and then and actually do them for tangible things. Again, number one, create 1% daily improvement system. Look, if you can measure it, you can improve it. Figure out how you can measure the thing so that you can get to the thing, right? Build habit stacking routines. If you got a bunch of bad habits, well, figure out some of the habits that are just ingrained, and then instead of doing those bad habits, start stacking on good habits where those bad habits are, or where those already ingrained habits are, and you'll see how much you change. It takes like 21 days to make or break a habit. Sometimes I think it takes a lot longer because sometimes we fall back into old habits, but figure out where you can habit stack. Number 3, develop weekly protocols. Those are the things that you can look into the process of what you're doing and saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is my standard. This is how I'm going to get it done. And it is what it is. And that's just what I'm going to do no matter how I feel. Develop those weekly protocols and review them. And then last thing, master micro progress tracking. Look, not everything is going to be a massive improvement, but that micro progress. You look at the stock market, you see it, and it's like, ooh, some days they're dips, some days they're high, some days they're dips. But what happens is it increases at a decreasing rate, but at the end of the day, it increases. And it's those macro, those day after day after day. You put in that time, day after day after day, some great and some big things will change. Your 2025 is going to look insanely different because you just chipped away for 365 days, but it started on day 1, day 2, day 3. It's one day at a time. So I hope this message helped. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Appreciate you all watching. Yeah, we're just going to keep doing this, keep getting this thing rolling. So thank you all for watching. Peace.